Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this show, COVID-19 Facts versus Hype. First, let me welcome all of you this Sunday evening and explain to you some of the things that we are going to be discussing on this show. As we and the world grapple with COVID-19, we are all struck by the amount of misinformation, lack of awareness, and lack of understanding of this disease. जैसे भारत में और सारे विश्व में इस वक्त हम कोरोना वायरस से जूझ रहे हैं, हमें ये आभास हो रहा है कि इसकी बहुत सी चीज़ें हैं जिनके बारे में हम नहीं जानते हैं, वी डोंट अंडरस्टैंड इट एंड उसके लिए ये इसको ठीक से समझना, इससे कैसे लड़ा जा सकता है, हम अपने आप को किस तरह इससे प्रोटेक्ट कर सकते हैं, ये सब समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है. So welcome to this live show. This is in partnership with Scroll, and we're extremely grateful to Scroll for hosting this. First of all, let me welcome my guest for today evening, Dr. Bornali Datta. Dr. Bornali Datta is a very well-known pulmonologist and is at Medanta Medicity. She's also been one of the strongest voices creating awareness around COVID-19, tuberculosis, and many other infectious diseases. So welcome, Bornali. Thank you so much for taking out time this Sunday evening to be with us.
Thanks. Thank you, Chapal. Thanks for having me.
So, बातचीत हो रही है. We are all talking about how the lockdown is going to be lifted. Lockdown खत्म हो जाएगा, वापस economic activity शुरू हो जाएगी. 30% इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी और जॉब्स में ऑलरेडी बातचीत चल रही है कि हम उन्हें वापस बुला रहे हैं लोगों को. इस वक्त कोरोना वायरस के बारे में बहुत से मिथ्स और बहुत से फैक्ट्स हैं जिनके बारे में आम जनता नहीं जानती. तो Bornali, let me start by asking you the most fundamental question. The world is looking, and we in India are all frightened, in fact paranoid, घबराए हुए हैं कि क्या होगा COVID-19 को लेके, बाहर जाना चाहिए, नहीं जाना चाहिए, और दूसरा कि हम किस तरह अपने आप को इससे प्रोटेक्ट करें, क्योंकि ये बहुत ज़रूरी है कि जैसे जैसे हम आम जिंदगी में वापस जाने की कोशिश करते हैं, as we go back to normal life, how do we protect ourselves? How do we save ourselves and protect ourselves from COVID-19?
Right, Chapal. So, as you pointed out, there is a lot of information and a lot of misinformation. And all of us are subject to, a lot of social media things. And fear and paranoia is huge. It's tremendous. I mean, we have to, first of all, accept that COVID-19 is here to stay for some more months, and we just have to deal with it. Now, what are the protective steps we take depends on one simple understanding of how the virus spreads. I think ये हम सबको पता है कि वायरस का स्प्रेड जो होता है वो खांसी से, स्नीजिंग से जो ड्रॉपलेट्स आता है. इनिशियल हमारा जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग था ये था कि जब हम स्नीज करते हैं या खांसते हैं, ड्रॉपलेट्स जाके सरफेस पे गिरता है, टेबल पे, दीवार पे, कहीं पे भी, और वो जब कोई टच करे और फिर मुंह में हाथ लगाए, वायरस फिर नाक या मुंह से रेस्पिरेटरी ट्रैक्ट यानी लंग्स में चला जाता था. ना एक और चीज है कि ये ड्रॉपलेट इन्फेक्शन इसको कहते हैं. सेकंड तरीका है जो बाद में जाके हमें पता चला, that it also spreads through aerosols, यानी बहुत फाइन पार्टिकल्स होते हैं जो हवा में सस्पेंडेड रहता है for hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, especially जब वो बंद कमरे में के अंदर होता है. बाहर उतना ज्यादा असर नहीं पड़ता क्योंकि एटमॉस्फेयर में वो डाइल्यूट हो जाता है, but within a closed space, the aerosol can stay for many hours. So once you understand that these are the two mechanisms, तो आप अपने आप को कैसे प्रोटेक्ट करेंगे? अभी हम सब बाहर जाने लगेंगे, it's inevitable. Lockdown खत्म होगा, we will resume normal life to some extent. So the very first thing is mask, and that is mandatory now. Masks are a must. Now, मास्क अगेन हमें पता है बहुत तरीके के मास्क होते हैं. आजकल जो सबसे कॉमन मास्क दैट पीपल आर यूजिंग आर द क्लॉथ मास्क, सिंपल क्लॉथ मास्क जो घर पे बना हुआ है. नाउ व्हाट डज अ क्लॉथ मास्क डू? इट्स वेरी सिंपल, जस्ट अ बैरियर अक्रॉस योर फेस, राइट? इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट कि नाक और मुंह उससे ढके. दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट. व्हेन यू वेयर अ क्लॉथ मास्क, when you even wear a surgical mask, you are not protecting yourself, you're protecting others from you. So if you were to cough or sneeze, वो आपके मास्क के अंदर ही droplets हो, aerosols हो, सब उसके अंदर ही रहेगा. You won't spread it in the atmosphere. यहाँ वहाँ नहीं गिरेगा. So that is the purpose of the mask. Now, if you imagine बाहर 100 लोग हैं और सब मास्क पहने हैं, that means that person is protecting everybody else from himself. आप अपने खुद के जो secretions है खांसने पे, उससे आप औरों को protect कर रहे हैं. That is a cloth mask or a surgical mask. Very important. So we are looking after each other. हम सबकी परवाह कर रहे हैं कि मैं खांसूंगा तो इसको हो सकता है problem, so I'll wear a mask and I'll protect the other person from me. Similarly, the other person will do it. Now, the second thing is N95 mask. आजकल तो N95 mask भी बहुत widely usage में है. But the N95 mask, of course, protects you from aerosol infection. बाहर जितना भी infection है. N95 mask, however, is recommended just for healthcare workers. That is the key thing here. N95 masks are to be used by healthcare workers who are dealing with COVID patients, either suspects or confirmed. So N95 masks are meant to be reserved for that. Okay, so first comes mask. Second is hand hygiene. So hand hygiene, again, we all know it is a vital thing. Why? Because हम टच करते हैं, हम सब जगह डोर नॉब, लिफ्ट का बटन, टेबल टॉप, सब जगह पे हमारा हाथ जाता है और फिर हम जब मुंह छूते हैं अपना, वायरस फिर ट्रांसमिट हो जाता है अंदर. सो हैंड हाइजीन, you have to keep, if you touch anything, you have to wash your hands thoroughly with soap for 20 seconds or use alcohol based sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol, and again go through all the steps 20 seconds. So hand hygiene. Third is, we all know now, social distancing or physical distancing. जब हम खांसते हैं, droplets up to 2 meters they can drop. So you must keep a distance of 2 meters from people around you. Just keep distance from everyone. Lift में आजकल, पहले होता था lift मतलब जितने लोग हो सकते हैं ठूस के अंदर आ जाए. That is no longer the case. हर एक लिफ्ट में एक स्टिकर लगा होगा कि मैक्सिमम 4 या 5 लोग ही अंदर जा सकते हैं और सब अपने each other से घूम के रहिए. मतलब don't face each other. So that आप खांसेंगे तो particles एक दूसरे पे नहीं जाएगा. So these are basic 3 things जो government शुरू से recommend करते आए हैं. They are well proven. और अभी एक बार lockdown खत्म हो जाएगा, we do the same precautions. But additionally, I think all of us have to avoid going anywhere that it is not necessary to go. कहीं हमें जरूरत नहीं है तो ना जाए. घर पे रहिए, whatever it is. Avoid contact, minimize contact. आपको पता है कोई बीमार है तो stay away from the person. So these are basic things, but the principles don't change. Whether it is in lockdown or outside of lockdown, precautions हमें फिर same precautions ही follow करना है.
So this is really useful. ये बहुत ही useful जानकारी है. Let me ask you a slightly different question. One of the myths around COVID-19 is that most people who will get COVID-19 will not actually turn sick. That's actually a very small percentage that will get sick. तो बहुत से लोग ये मानते हैं कि बाहर जाने में कोई खराबी नहीं है. अगर COVID-19 आपको होता भी है, अगर आपको ये वायरस होता भी है, तो इसमें घबराएं नहीं. इसमें ज़्यादातर लोग को कुछ नहीं होगा. इसमें कितना सच है? क्योंकि ये बात रैश बिहेवियर भी प्रमोट कर सकती है. और इसके बारे में ये मिथ है या फैक्ट है, ये बताइए.
Sure. So that's a very relevant point. और जैसे आपने बताया, इसका एक advantage भी है कि लोग पैनिक ना करें, paranoia ना हो, because ultimately it is a mild flu-like illness. But equally, that doesn't mean कि आप कोई precautions ले ना, कि it's a simple flu, मुझे क्या करना है, I'm going to go out, I'm going to party, I'm going to do everything. That's not a good attitude either. Now, the studies जो अब तक होते आए हैं, initially, as we know, it was in China, then it was in Italy, then it was in New York City. These are the hubs. I'm talking about the hotspots. And of course, it has happened all over the world, but these are the hotspots जहाँ से काफी data आया है. Now, the very initial Wuhan का, there's a study published in New England Journal, which is a very बहुत key एक medical journal है. So there was a group of 1,099 COVID confirmed cases who were looked at in the hospital. And the reality is 81% had mild illness, mild to moderate. Now, these are the group which they can recover at home. They won't need hospital admission. Unko thoda fever hai, khansi, zukam, is type ke symptoms. 81%. So that is correct, that 81% have mild illness. 15% require hospital admission. 5% require ICU admission. Is 5% ICU admission, 2.3% will require ventilator. And of this entire cohort, 1.4% will die. So it is a fact that the majority of us will only have a mild flu-like viral illness. But there will be many who will also fall sick, who will need hospitalization, ventilation, ICU care, etc. The problem is that our population is enormous. 1.3 billion population, 130 crore population. So if we were all to fall sick at the same time, we don't have healthcare facilities. हमारे पास जो healthcare facilities है वो limited है. जब COVID नहीं होता है तब भी बहुत limited है. अब in the face of a pandemic, we will get significantly compromised. So the point is that the point of the lockdown, the point of taking all the precautions is that the disease is staggered. So दो type के peaks होते हैं. एक होता है जब हम lockdown नहीं करते, कोई precautions नहीं लेते, then the peak is like that. Or and our healthcare services are compromised. If we do lockdown, we take the precautions and the curve goes like that. That is what we call by flattening the curve. And when we do that, what happens is that the healthcare services are not overwhelmed. So I think it's a balance. Yes, it is a mild illness for the majority of the people. So do not panic. Do not panic, follow the precautions, do everything. On the other hand, being reckless makes no sense. Because yes, young people get a mild illness, but not everyone. There will be a few young people who will also get a severe illness, and some will also lose their lives, unfortunately. So you don't want to be that person just because you've been, rash or reckless and you've decided, I'm not wearing a mask, mujhe mask nahi chahiye, main to jaake mingle, I'll go to the marketplace, I'll do everything. That's also not okay. So I think it's important to understand this and maintain the balance.
Thanks. This is really helpful. ये बहुत ज़रूरी है. Before I go to the next question, I want to say anybody who has a question, you can tweet to us, you can comment, you can send your questions to us live. We are taking live questions. We've been receiving some live questions. So मैं दूसरा सवाल जो पूछना चाहूँगा वो आपसे ये है that a lot of young people are under this mistaken impression that young people will not suffer under COVID-19. Young लोगों को, and India is primarily demographically young. इस वक्त हिंदुस्तान की population largest amount जो है वो under 35 है. तो is this a myth or a fact?
So again, there is truth in it, no doubt. And I'll just quote, because now the studies and the shared experience है पूरा, the whole world, जो उनका experience है from Italy, from England, from US, we are getting all that experience to us. We are getting the information कि हाँ इतने लोग affected हुए, इतने deaths हुए. Now I'll quote one particular figure from New York City. तो New York City में 6,800 a group of deaths of 6,800 people. Now इनमें 73% is more than 65 years old. 23% is 45 to 64. And 18 to 44 is 4.5%. And less than 17 years is 0.04%. So yes, we are aware that children do not get a severe form of disease. The most of them will just get a very simple viral infection and get better. But not all. There will be a few who may get severe illness, even in children. We have seen in New York City, they have recently quoted 3 deaths, where the virus behaves like a vasculitis. Vasculitis means कि जब आपके नस जो है वो बहुत सूज जाते हैं, तो तब हार्ट अटैक का चांस ये सब होता है. तो ये बच्चों में देखा गया है. So it is, nobody is free of risk. हाँ, young people, the 18 to 45, young adult, उनमें कम है 4.5%, but that's not zero. You can still get it. So yes, it is true that above, the higher your age, the more risk of severe disease, the more risk of death. And in the younger age groups, it is lesser, but it is not zero still. So I think one has to be mindful. So even for the young adult who gets a disease and becomes very unwell, his risk is still 100% as an individual. So I think ये हमें नहीं भूलना चाहिए, and therefore precautions हमें फिर भी लेना है with our full understanding of this illness.
So I think this is again very useful. ये बहुत important बात है कि nobody is immune to it. आप young हैं, आपके chances कम हैं, मगर इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि आप immune हैं, और इसका ये मतलब कतई नहीं है कि आप suffer नहीं करेंगे. We'll now take our first live question, which has come. It comes from Ranveer Verma. I cannot see where he is from, but he's saying, what will be the future while living with the virus when asymptomatic cases are increasing in the country? What he's saying is कि जब देश में asymptomatic cases हैं, होंगे.
That's the question.
Sorry.
And that, sorry. Shall I?
Please, go ahead.
Thanks for the question, Ranveer. Very relevant question. And I think that is what all of us are wondering. What will the next 3-6 months be like? We have the virus. It is very much within our communities, within our society now. And it is going to be a staggered evolution. We avoided the peak, which would have overwhelmed us completely. But now it will slowly infiltrate everywhere. And there is no option there. Why? Because the entire population is a susceptible population, which means we have not been exposed to the virus. That's what a novel virus does. It's a new virus. We have zero immunity. When a person gets it, yes, a young, healthy person will subsequently then develop immunity to it. But when you first get it, you have no existing immunity against it. Yes, the route will be that there will be many asymptomatic carriers. There will be many symptomatic people. There will be many hospitalizations. There will be deaths. There will be generation of herd immunity, through the fact that asymptomatic carriage can often also result in herd immunity. Fecal transmission can result in herd immunity. These are the ways that eventually a population will become fully immune to the virus. And the other way, of course, is by getting a vaccine. So this is the harder way, because obviously for so many asymptomatic well people, there will be so many unwell, so many deaths. But that is something that we can't avoid at all.
I totally agree with you, because I think this is the interesting part, that the certainty that we are looking for is not really available in the way that we think about the future. We'll take our next question, which is from Devashri Lokhande. She's saying, from Pune, she's saying, when there's talks of herd immunity for society, where do TB patients or people with one lung stand? Do we stay home and isolated until a vaccine comes? I mean, this is a really critical question. बहुत ही ज़रूरी सवाल है, क्योंकि भारत में लाखों के दर पे, और आप खुद TB patients के साथ डील करती हैं काफ़ी, तो lakhs and lakhs of TB patients every year. And also we recent modeling study जो की गई है, उसमें spike दिखाया गया है TB cases में भी और deaths में. So herd immunity and TB patients, how do we correlate this?
So I think a very valid question, and also a very difficult one to answer with a very definitive answer. As we have seen, anyone with underlying lung disease is at higher risk, is at greater risk for developing a more severe infection. Yes, all of us will get infected. Not everyone will get severe infection. Severe infection is when you have an underlying disease. It can be lung disease, chronic lung disease. It can be, yes, one destroyed lung because of old TB, old infection. It can be because of asthma, COPD. Also, all other diseases like diabetes, hypertension, chronic kidney disease, liver disease. So everybody has the same question, that we are high risk. We know we are high risk. What do we do about it? Do we just sit tight till the vaccine comes, which may be another 6? The optimistic thing is September, but it may not be. So realistically. So the important thing is for you to be aware that, yes, you are at higher risk. So how will you then tackle the problem? Again, you take all the precautions, all the standard precautions, but the very key thing is that where does the virus spread? Where does the virus like to be? Wherever there are crowds. We heard the recent explosion in the sabzi mandis. Why? Because there are thousands of people who congregate there, and you need one positive to just spread it to, like in Tamil Nadu, there were 300 positive in one day. So, so that's what the virus likes to be, and that's what you have to avoid. So do not go to any place that you can possibly avoid going. Do not go to a crowded place at all. Now, soon the marketplaces and etc. may open up. The government has taken a very conscious stand for this reason, to not open the malls, the cinema, the marketplaces, public transport, because these are where crowds congregate, where there will be a lot of people, and it'll take very little to spark off infection in everybody who's present at that point in time. So I think it's vital to avoid that. At the same time, taking basic precautions. Your life doesn't have to come to a complete standstill. Be safe about it. Go to places where you're aware. Go to a friend's place or a family member's place, assuming that they are well, they don't have any problem. So limit your exposure as much as possible. Yes, do your work from home. Unfortunately, we are in a situation where there is no easy way out. So don't take any risk. But I think the key thing is that this is where the virus likes to be, in crowded places. So I think that is vital to avoid.
So I think it's a very important tagline to consider. Where does the virus like to be? And that is going to define not just our work lives, but also our social lives going in the future. Virus कहाँ जाता है ये सोचिए, और वही जगह है जहाँ आपको नहीं जाना है, क्योंकि इससे बढ़िया कोई और एहतियात नहीं है जब तक कोई वैक्सीन नहीं आती या कोई क्योर नहीं आता. We'll take our next question. ये पूछ रहे हैं हिमाचल प्रदेश से कार्तिक. ये बहुत लोग पूछ रहे हैं, इसका कोई स्ट्रेट जवाब नहीं आ रहा. There is no clear answer. What happens when a person recovers from COVID-19? Will he or she have immunity then? Karthik, thank you for asking this important question. क्या उन लोगों को immunity हो जाती है? क्या उनको फिर से हो सकता है? इसके बारे में क्या? ये एक बहुत बड़ा मिथ है, लोग जो propagate भी करते हैं कि आपको COVID-19 हो गया, अब नहीं होगा, घबराइए मत, you're free from it. Is that true?
Question, Karthik. And so any viral infection, any infection for that matter, that the body develops immunoglobulins, antibodies, right, to fight that virus. Now, the first peak of antibodies is something called IgM, which is acute. There's a sharp rise and then it settles down. And IgG is the antibody that confers long-term immunity. That is the one that comes a bit later, but then that will stay for months, sometimes years, and that will give you that's the long-term memory of the brain, so that if the virus comes again, then it can. Now, the problem with COVID is that it's a very different virus, and we are still struggling. So we had thought, yes, if someone gets COVID, he is immune. But as you all know, recently WHO said that there were many workplaces who were going to give a immunity passport. Ki haan, you had COVID, you are immune, you can come back to work, because we assume you will not be at risk of developing it again. But the WHO says that is not yet so clear-cut. You may still get it. So I think one just has to be cautious. While we are still learning, you must be aware that every day there's a new piece of information. One day we say, yes, it is A, next day, no, it is not A, it's B. So we are also still learning the actual facts of the virus. It is extremely complex medical illness. It's not a simple thing that we all thought in the beginning, or that we all hoped for in the beginning. So it is much more complex than that. One thing to bear in mind is there was a news report from South Korea, who did a very good job of controlling the virus. But they said that sometime later, when they retested, I think around 90 people who had recovered had got negative, and then they tested positive again. And that was a very scary thing for everyone, because the question is, what does that mean? Does that mean that we have got reinfected again? Because then what's the point of having antibodies or anything at all? Our immune system is just failing against this virus. But then later, they corroborated this sort of study with the fact that no, they did not detect live virus. They just detected a viral fragment. So viral fragment means a small piece of the virus which is not viable. So it is just like a dead bacteria. You detect it because your tests are so, so sophisticated. You end up detecting even a dead. So I think, so the reality is that yes, we will get immunity. How long will that immunity stay for? I think we may have to, hang fire and wait as this part evolves in front of our eyes. And hopefully this will be the same that we do for the ones who got infected.
हाँ, तो थैंक यू सो मच डॉक्टर दत्ता ये इस बारे में बताने के लिए कि आई थिंक इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग टू रिमेंबर here is, before we take the next question, is that the term that has been used for this virus is novel. So novel coronavirus, novel anokha, we don't know enough, we are still researching it. So let's not try to look for so many confirmations, but actually stick to a lot of the advice that medical professionals and the WHO gives us. ये दूसरा सवाल है, वो कह रहे हैं कि कोई कंफर्म मेडिकेशन प्रिस्क्राइब्ड है, ये जेरी मैथ्यूज हैं, आई एम नॉट श्योर कहाँ से हैं, बट ही इज आस्किंग, सो आर देयर एनी कंफर्म मेडिकेशंस एज येट प्रिस्क्राइब्ड फॉर दिस? दिस इज अगेन, यू नो, there was talk of HIV medications, there was talk of other medications that were going to show promising results. President Trump announced something, but what does the medical fraternity say? आप डॉक्टर्स क्या मानते हैं और साइंटिफिक एविडेंस क्या है इस बारे में?
Okay, again a very good question, and the one, the person who's asked the question probably knows that there is no answer again. So what has been tried so far, as Chapal ji just said, one is a HIV medicine, lopinavir and ritonavir. So this is a fixed drug combination. So that has been tried. No definitive evidence of success. Now, what do we say when we say success? There are two things we are looking at. One is reducing virus shedding. So, when you cough or when your swab is taken, your throat is full of virus. I mean, that's what we are trying to detect, right? So if that goes negative, that means you're not infectious. And that is what the drug is trying to do, make you non-infectious by reducing the virus in your throat. So virus shedding, reducing that is one goal of treatment. Second is reducing the severity of illness, reducing deaths, mortality. So far, no positive results, which is very unfortunate. But the potential ones, one was the anti-HIV medicine, one is hydroxychloroquine that we all know about, hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine. So there are ways in which these can affect, but again, no conclusive evidence. The most hopeful one we have is something called remdesivir, which was a antiviral medication which was developed for Ebola virus. And while it wasn't used for that, but it was there already, and it has shown promising results in animal studies. And now it is being used as a phase 2 trial. Apart from these, then there are things like we have, I don't know how much you all are aware, जब कोई बीमार होता है with COVID, there is शरीर का जो immunity होता है, it's a severe reaction. It's called a cytokine storm. मतलब शरीर में बहुत सारे molecules वायरस को लड़ने के लिए तैयार होते हैं, as a result of that, the person becomes even more unwell. So there are certain medicines to stop the cytokine storm. One of them is called tocilizumab. It blocks this. And then convalescent sera. Convalescent sera means जिसको already हो चुका है COVID, उसके शरीर में जो blood में जो antibodies है, उसको निकाल के we concentrate it and then give it to a critically sick patient जिसके पास अपने antibodies हुआ नहीं है. So these are the things which have been tried with some degrees of success. No confirmed evidence yet. There is a big trial, worldwide trial that WHO is conducting called the Solidarity Trial. जिसमें they are trying the anti-HIV medicine, they are trying hydroxychloroquine, they are trying they're also trying anti-cytokine medication for this, and we are waiting to see what the results of this, and remdesivir, of course, and we're waiting to see what the results of this comes out. So we hope that again within the next few weeks things will become clearer to us. For the moment, even though there is not that much evidence, our line of treatment has been, as recommended by ICMR, hydroxychloroquine with azithromycin. We are giving that. A few things to point out, Chapal, if I may. Not with regard to antiviral medication, but other medication which is quite important during this viral infection. Because one of the things is that COVID में देखा गया है कि खून thick हो जाता है. खून थिक हो जाता है, लंग्स में क्लॉट्स बनने लगते हैं. सो एंटीकोएगुलेशन, खून पतला दवाई भी जरूरी होता है, नॉट एज एंटीवायरल बट एज अ रिएक्शन of the viral infection. And second is antibiotics. Broad spectrum antibiotics are necessary because जो patient को viral infection होता है वो फिर secondary bacterial infection की वजह से septicemia में भी जा सकते हैं. So these are just add-on things to the antiviral medication.
No, this is all very helpful again. Thank you so much. Because I think it's important to understand this also, that there are various things being tried out. And the solidarity trial that you mentioned is particularly critical because it's happening globally. पूरे विश्व में हो रहा है वो trial, and we are hopeful कि उसमें से कुछ ऐसे results आएंगे जो हमें इस वायरस से लड़ने की कुछ क्षमता, कुछ direction देंगे. I'll take our next question. It's about now again. This is a purely a question about keeping safe. Baba Rohit K पूछ रहे हैं, how do we sanitize our clothes as we travel from different places to workplace? How to stay safe with clothes hygiene? You know, this is very, very critical because now we all have to go out because economic activity is being resumed, and you know, people have to be out. The virus is in the air. We have no control over people's coughing. तो जब हम बाहर जाएं तो वापस आते हैं तो हम उसको लेके आएंगे. अगर क्या इसमें क्या हम कर सकते हैं, क्या इसकी जरूरत भी है, और अगर जरूरत है तो कैसे करें?
Again, very relevant question. और हम जो हॉस्पिटल जाते हैं, so we are especially paranoid about this because you know हम जो घर के कपड़े पहन के जाते हैं, and all doctors, all nurses, healthcare workers, they are just worried कि जब घर आएंगे तो हमारे जो घर वाले हैं, we are putting them at risk. So you know that is there is a very valid question because सबको ये लग रहा है कि हम यहाँ वहाँ घूमेंगे, virus is everywhere, and how do we protect us and our families at home? So what we do in the hospital when we come back home is that the recommendation is so you can soak your clothes in Dettol for half an hour. So you know you soak it in a tub of water, soak it completely, and put a good amount of liquid Dettol, so a cap full of liquid Dettol approximately, and soak it for half an hour, and then just normal washing. Either you wash it like you wash it under the tap with surf, or you do it in a washing machine, whatever it may be. If you have, if you're able to use a washing machine, that is preferred to hand washing. Why so? Because washing machine, when it turns the clothes, apparently itna heat generate hota hai ki the virus gets killed. So that is probably the best way to handle your clothes. Shoes as well, best to leave your work shoes at the door. Don't bring them into the house and change into this thing. The minute you enter, immediately wash your clothes. Best thing for all of us now, I think. The minute you come, get rid of your shoes, go to your bathroom, soak your clothes, shower, cleanse yourself completely with a good thorough soap scrub, and I think you're good. Hair is a problem. Hair also, you know, virus does stay in the hair. And again, in the hospital, we wear a cap, but that's obviously not possible. Bahar ghumne pe, you can't wear a cap, but that's important to keep it clean and keep it sort of, you can't wash it all the time, but just be aware that hair may be hota hai. But the key thing is your hands. Now, virus jab aerosol ban ke hawa mein hota hai, that won't stick to your clothes. That you can only breathe it in. But जो droplets होता है, कोई आपके आसपास किसी ने खांसा, तो उसका droplets can land on your clothes. So I think it's a very good point, and I think all of us have to just change our, lifestyle and just become very conscious of hygiene. Simple things, nothing very drastic is needed, but I think we just have to do that to feel safe.
ये interesting बात भी है. This is also quite interesting because in a world now we are finding that hygiene has become the most important thing to avoid a dangerous epidemic and to control a dangerous epidemic. Not new medicines, not new tests, and certainly not new drugs. The very fundamentals of hygiene that we were taught in school, that doctors have been saying to us for decades, कि भाई हाथ धो खाने से पहले, खाने के बाद, things like that. I'll take our next question. This is actually again a genuinely myth-busting, which is very important, and this has become critical for India also, but elsewhere. There was the theory about animals being responsible for COVID-19 in people. But let me expand this question also, because a lot of people have this fear that street dogs, our pets can also spread COVID. So first part of the question is, क्या COVID-19 animals से आता है? Are they responsible for it in people? And number two is the more important thing is, how do we deal with animals around us during this crisis?
Yeah, very, very, again, pertinent question. Now, हाँ, COVID-19 जो SARS-CoV-2 जो virus है, which is causing COVID-19. So this virus has come to human beings from animals in the Wuhan wet market. We know about that, right? The China का जो ये wet market है, there you have a combination of domestic animals, wild animals, and living animals, dead animals. So it's a mix of this, and that is a perfect place for this kind of a novel virus to take birth. So वहाँ पे it has started from that. The original source is the bat, and there is always an intermediary animal, which is possibly a pangolin, which is a scaly anteater, and then it has come to human beings. So the very original virus, yes, SARS-CoV-2 came to humans from animals. इसको कहते हैं zoonosis. There's a group of diseases जो animal से human में जब आता है, it's called zoonosis. And this event, when it happens, is called a spillover event. पर एक बार humans में आ जाता है, now it is purely human to human transmission. Now the animals are out of the loop. However, having said that, because see, it is not a simple thing. Animal to human transmission, human to animal transmission is a very big event. It's not something that happens, every day of our lives. It happens once in, 20, 30 years, एक बार ऐसे virus को मौका मिलता है to undergo this mutation and become toxic to humans, virulent to humans. In any case, so this is called a zoonosis. अभी तो humans में है and animals are out of the loop really. Bats are reservoirs for lots of viruses. So bats ka jo caves mein and all these, they're strange habits. They are mammals, but they have different habits to most mammals, and that somehow makes them a reservoir for viruses. So that is one thing. Now, in this particular virus, we have 2-3 accounts. One is that in New York zoos, they found that वहाँ के zoos के जो tigers है, उसमें ये positive SARS-CoV-2 के लिए positive आया है, and quite a few tigers of the Bronx Zoo was found to be positive, and they were thought to be infected by a human asymptomatic carrier. Okay, so this has happened. It's not widespread. Further data has shown us that yes, cats may be susceptible, dogs are not. So we are talking ulta now. The street dog is not giving it to you. The question is, are you giving it to any animal? Because the animals में नहीं है, ये सिर्फ humans में है. We are the current bearers of this virus, and to transmit it to an animal, one can't do it in a very simple manner. So I wouldn't worry about that aspect. So dogs, cats, they can be जिसको fomites कहते हैं, यानी आप infected हो COVID से and you have a dog and you cough, तो उसके जो droplets आपके dog के ऊपर गिरेगा, फिर dog will go to another person who is not infected, he will touch the dog. So that is called a fomite, and an object that can carry the virus. Other than that, I wouldn't worry about animals being in any way involved in this at the current stage.
So I think the subtext here is that we are, the virus is actually predominantly in us now. So we have to be kinder to animals around us. The chances of animals giving it to us are lesser than, are way lesser than us giving it to animals and to other humans. So I think this is very critical because there have been reports of neglect, abandonment. लोगों ने अपने pets को छोड़ दिया क्योंकि उनको डर लगता है. एक नया question आया है, and this is a myth which is very, very important. And I really would like you to comment on this because you're a pulmonologist. There have been some, this is by Tanveer Jaskaran, and ये बहुत ही अच्छा सवाल पूछा इन्होंने. That's a very relevant question. There have been reports that smokers or nicotine users are at lower risk than the rest. What is the truth? Because, I mean, this is something that this is a myth, but people are vastly believing it. लोग मानते हैं कि सिगरेट पीना अब इनको कोरोना वायरस से बचाएगा. आपको क्या कहना है इसके बारे में?
So that is that myth needs to be completely busted, So there is probably no disease that smoking can help in any way. If you think about it, आप जब cigarette पीते हैं, whether you're doing real cigarette, e-cigarettes fortunately have been banned now. But पहले e-cigarettes में nicotine, high content nicotine होता था, along with lots of other toxic things. And regular cigarette में हमें पता है कितना ऐसे पदार्थ है जो carcinogenic है, cancer causing है, they cause heart disease, COPD, asthma, TB, everything. Every disease is aggravated by smoking. So I would, if there have been reports like this, often we get to see कि हाँ smokers group में, but what you have to remember is that confounding factors करके एक चीज होता है. So you have two groups of people, smokers and non-smokers. And you find, oh, so COVID is more in the non-smokers and less in the smokers. But have you looked at all other factors? Have you looked at their age? Have you looked at underlying comorbidity, etc.? So I wouldn't at all go with this that, yes, smoking will definitely not help your immunity or help your lungs, because ultimately you're breathing it into your lungs and you want to have strong lungs. And if you smoke, there is no way your lungs will have either the immunity or the strength to deal with the virus. So completely don't entertain the thought that smoking will in any way help you deal with the virus. If there have been reports that, in smokers, it has been a bit lesser incidence, then I would say we need, bigger studies, bigger groups, analysis properly to understand why this is so. But for not a minute should you consider that smoking can be helpful for dealing with COVID. It cannot.
This is also very useful, because please do not start smoking if you have given up, and do not increase your cigarette intake just because some reports indicate that smoking remains injurious for health. बुरी है. Next सवाल जो है वो एक actually fact based सवाल है, क्योंकि ये वर्ड बहुत बारी बोला गया है, आम आदमी को समझ में नहीं आता, एंड कुछ वर्ल्ड लीडर्स ने भी इसको यूज किया है. वर्ल्ड लीडर्स हैव यूज्ड इट वेरी often to as a way to fight this crisis. What is herd immunity? Please explain it to us. What is herd immunity?
Is this from
Deepti Chawla.
Yeah. Right. So see, now herd immunity is essential to deal with this kind of an epidemic, pandemic situation, in the sense that what herd immunity means, the entire population becomes immune. How will the entire population become immune? When they all develop the infection. How will they develop the infection? When they spread amongst each other. So we all know about R0. So R0 is the value that the infectiousness of a virus. So if I have a virus, how many people will I be spreading it to? So SARS-CoV-2 ka R0 is around 2.4 or thereabouts. So one person will spread it to 2.5. 2.5 will spread to another 2.5 each. So this is how it becomes exponential. And this spreads infection, but this also helps develop herd immunity. Now, the lockdown, there were two strategies to deal with COVID-19 when it started. You remember there were countries like England who initially decided that we're not going to do lockdown, we're not going to lock people inside the house. Instead, we will tell all 65 and above, you stay at home, everybody else come out and mix. Because whoever has the infection will give it to the others, and eventually we will all develop herd immunity, and that will make us immune to the virus. So this is what the second way to develop mass immunity is a vaccine. So the opposite of developing herd immunity is to do lockdown. When you do lockdown, there is no chance of developing herd immunity, because then what you're doing is you're isolating people, you're separating them. You're saying that I don't want you to infect the other person, because then that chain will go on, and we won't be able to, healthcare services won't be able to cope with that extent of infection that we will get. So the lockdown principle and the herd immunity principle are actually in conflict. But there is a reason for both of them. Because when you get a new infection and nobody's got immunity, again, as we discussed, what you worry about is the peak. When the peak comes, our healthcare services will get overwhelmed. You know, if you say we have 130 crores and 5% will require ICU care, straight away, it's 65 lakh will require ICU care. 65 lakh K, maybe half will require ventilators. How many ventilators does India have total? We have, I don't know, 70,000. Maybe we can push it to a lakh all over the nation. So can you imagine how overwhelmed we will get if it all comes together? So this is sort of the paradoxical thing, that yes, you want herd immunity, but the cost is too much. if you do it at a, as an instantaneous measure. So we will not do lockdown, we will let people mingle, let them develop herd immunity. But what about the people who will fall really sick all at once? And then you'll get this kind of a steep curve, and no amount of healthcare service nowhere in the world. We have seen it in America and Europe, who have very good healthcare infrastructure. They couldn't deal with it, and then we will be at a loss. So anyway, I'm going at a tangent, but just to explain that herd immunity does come at a cost. Now, if you think of a disease called polio, a disease like polio ka route of transmission is fecal-oral. So when you give the drops to all children, regardless, so if there are some who are missed out, babies, then it'll pass in their fecal, and then some spores will go and get by the oral route ingested by other babies, and that's how you develop the herd immunity. So that is what it is basically, that it's a population immunity by spreading the infection amongst everyone. And of course, what you're relying on also are the asymptomatic carriers, as in, the asymptomatic carrier is well, he doesn't know he has the infection, so he'll go around infecting lots of people. They're also called super spreaders. So they have, one is the benefit of herd immunity, but equally if they infect elderly people, for example, unknowingly, without knowing, then those people will suffer. So it is ultimately a balance. So I think what our government has done has been very reasonable. They have extended the lockdown, prevented herd immunity, but so that we don't get overwhelmed by a herd immunity will only naturally develop.
Okay.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I think that was very, very useful, because a lot of us keep hearing about this herd immunity, but not enough people understand what herd immunity actually is. And herd immunity shouldn't be an excuse for rash behavior at any point in time, or any kind of complacency. ऐसे बैठ नहीं जाएं अगर आप herd immunity की वेट कर रहे हैं. एक ज़रूरी सवाल जो हमारे पास नया आया है, जो रोज़मर्रा की ज़िंदगी से पूछ रहे हैं सुमिता बंदोपाध्याय, वो पूछ रही है वेजिटेबल फ्रूट्स में भी क्या वायरस घर आ सकता है? कैन द वायरस आल्सो कम थ्रू वेजिटेबल्स एंड फ्रूट्स? Linked to this question is also a question that people have often been saying about eating meat and non-veg during this time, right? Because a lot of people say, "Arey, animals, तो ये घर पे लाएंगे तो हो सकता है." तो our food is what we need for our immunity at this time, and how do we? Is this true? Is this a fact? Is this a myth? And how do we address this?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'll answer this question first. So see, fruits and vegetables, again, जैसे बाजार से आप कुछ भी लाएंगे, there's a risk that you don't know who has handled it, who has coughed on it, if there are droplets, if there is anything like that. So the guidance for receiving parcels and all from Amazon was that when it comes, 3-4 days, just leave it. Don't touch it. Just leave the box there. The virus lasts on that box, on cardboard box, for a day. Virus lasts on plastics and wood and other surfaces for anything between 3 to 5 days. Virus lasts on metal like copper for a few hours. So things like that are known. Now in fruits and vegetables, also it has a similar kind of a thing, like clothes we discussed just now. So even fruits and vegetables, when you get it, whoever is selling the fruit or vegetables, you just don't know if the person has coughed on it, somebody else has, or his hands were not clean when he handled it. So I think that's a very valid point. I think it is vital to thoroughly clean the fruits and vegetables. Again, you'll find a lot of information. People do various things. People have started putting their fruits and vegetables in a dishwasher and having it rinsed completely. And it's whatever works for you. You can soak it in, soak it in some lukewarm water, but you have to scrub the surface of the fruits and vegetables very thoroughly. So it's no longer just a, superficial wash under the tap, but it has to be either soaked for some time or held under running water for a couple of minutes while you're thoroughly scrubbing it, and ensure that the dirt or the dust or the droplets have been cleansed out. And that's probably the best one can do. In response to the second question that Chapal asked about vegetarian, non-vegetarian, well, see, there is definitely no evidence that non-vegetarians are at greater risk because of taking non-vegetarian food. So the precautions have to be followed. You have to make sure you get fresh, because now I think it's logistic issues, supply issues, things like that.
Yeah.
You don't know, are you getting fresh meat? Are you actually getting, those are the things which should bother you. But if you're assured that you're getting it from a good place, you're getting fresh meat, cook it, clean it thoroughly, cook it thoroughly. And if you've done that, then there is no reason why the meat is not a carrier of the virus. In the same way, anything you get from outside needs thorough cleaning, thorough cooking. Same thing goes for the, for the vegetables also. When you cook it, make sure you cook it well, and the heat will not let it survive. Fruits, obviously, we don't tend to cook it. Therefore, we have to be more particular about cleaning it very thoroughly. But yes, I think vegetarians, non-vegetarians, everybody's at equal risk as such.
A related question to this is being asked by Shifleto. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. I don't know where he is from, but he is asking a very irrelevant question again. A lot of people have been thinking about this because there's a lot of talk about vitamin D3 and zinc supplementation all across the board. सब लोग कह रहे हैं vitamin D3 लीजिए, zinc supplementation कीजिए. So he's asking, should we be thinking about supplementation and immunity booster injections? Is that necessary? And if so, what should be?
Absolutely. So very relevant question. And I think there's a lot of emphasis on D3, vitamin D3, because there have been studies that have shown that the cohort which has low vitamin D3 levels have fared worse in COVID. They have been more sick. Now, this is because vitamin D3 actually is a very important key component of our immunity, of our immune system. And this is not just to do with COVID. We have found in tuberculosis, in other respiratory illnesses, that low vitamin D3 makes you more susceptible because of the fact that your immunity is compromised. So vitamin D3 has been found to be a definite factor for worsening more severe illness in COVID. And I think it is important that all of us, because of our lifestyle being completely cooped up inside the house or inside our office or inside cars, so we rarely expose ourselves to sunshine. And sunshine is what will boost it converts the existing vitamin D to active vitamin D and makes it a active component in your body. So because of not getting exposed to sunshine, all of us are, I think, doubled, in the teens, vitamin D, most of us. So I think vitamin D supplementation, I think it's important, however, to check your levels. And if low, definitely supplement it, because it is also known that a lot of people just take it willy-nilly, and then you can also go into hypervitaminosis. So that's also not recommended. So I think definitely check it, and if low, you must supplement it, and that will boost your immunity. Immunity is an important thing, and we know that vitamin C, for example, vitamin C is a very key immune booster. And a lot of people are, taking a lot of amla and things like that, which boost citrus fruits and lim C tablets. And I think that's fine. If that boosts, that's a boost to your immunity, it's well worth taking, and definitely none of these will hurt. Zinc supplementation is also something that has been recommended. Again, I don't think we have clear-cut evidence for zinc yet. I think it is part of, as a supplement, it's being added to the trials that are going on. And we may find that, yes, it's a good thing and should be taken. So I think, as far as supplements are concerned, I think it's all good because they all boost immunity, and that's what we are relying on to help us fight the virus. So I think it's very reasonable to supplement your diet with all of these.
Yeah, and I think that's really critical, because even if you don't have some of the immunity boosters, I think it's also important to think about how you can eat well, exercise, and also keep your mental health in a state that it doesn't compromise अपनी मानसिक और शारीरिक स्वास्थ्य को आप कैसे ठीक रख सकें, ये बहुत ज़रूरी है. We've got another question. ये मुंबई से Vineet Sharma. Thank you, Vineet. He's asking a very interesting question. He's saying many people suffer from sinusitis. Are these people at similar risk like that of TB? What are the exact symptoms of COVID-19 that are different on different websites? And this has been coming up again and again, because as you have mentioned earlier once to me, it's an infodemic, as the WHO says. लोग इतनी बातें करते हैं कि सच क्या है पता नहीं, हम भूल जाते हैं. So this question, of course, has two parts. One related to sinusitis and one to exact symptoms. So अगर आप इसके बारे में कुछ बताएं.
Sure. Right. Right, Vineet. Good questions again. Now, see, sinusitis is an allergic problem. Okay, so it is not as serious an illness like TB, although it can be chronic. Yes, it can be chronic because it's you're inherently allergic, and therefore season change and things like that will cause it. So, but I don't think it puts you at any increased risk. Whereas a TB patient, if he has, so again, a cured, recovered TB patient who's young, healthy, good immunity, I think he's okay. But if you have developed TB because of having some underlying immune compromise or your lung has been damaged, then you are at higher risk. So sinusitis, I would say, I don't think you need to worry. Okay, so that's, I think all of us have a bit of allergy, bit of this, that. So not everybody will be at risk. Asthma is different though, because asthma is in the lungs. And as we know, this virus, it goes and attaches to a receptor called ACE2, which is present in the lung, in alveolar epithelial cells. So that's why any underlying lung disease does make you at greater risk, because your lungs are already a bit compromised and the virus is attacking the lungs. Upper respiratory tract, yes, but not to this extent. The exact symptoms of COVID, now that is, I agree with you, it's a very important thing, because there's just so much of, again, so much fuzziness around it. Everywhere you read, somebody says this, somebody says that. Now, any viral infection ka hallmark is fever. So it is important, very important. Not everybody, there'll be the odd one who doesn't have it, but fever is vital. And then cough. Yeah, so these are the two key things. Breathlessness can be part of it, but if you are breathless, that means you have a greater severity of illness. So the disease, as you know, the COVID-19 is divided into mild, moderate, severe, very severe. Mild are the ones who have fever, cough, and then you have the other aspects of viral illness, like you have fatigue, you have myalgia, which means body ache, and you're just feeling exhausted. Yeah, so these are the key things. Upper respiratory tract, like a sore throat and cold, can be there, but somehow it's not as common as in the other viral illnesses, like the flus and all that. It's just not as common. That's what we have seen. But doesn't rule it out. It can still very much be there. So fever, cough, body ache, myalgia, fatigue. These are probably the key things. And this defines mild. Possibly moderate, but you may start developing a bit of breathlessness. If you develop breathlessness, that means you may be developing a degree of pneumonia, a degree of the ground glass in your lungs that we see in CT scans, etc. And that's probably the time to up your treatment a little bit. You may require oxygen. You definitely need to go and see a doctor and possibly get admitted. In between moderate and severe, your oxygen requirement gets higher. So for example, in moderate, you'll need 3-4 liters, and in severe, you'll need 10 liters, which is very high. And by the time it's very severe, then you may need to be considered for ventilator support. So there's just increasing degree of respiratory support. So for basic symptoms, as I said, these are the ones. What about gastro symptoms, GI symptoms? Nausea, a bit of diarrhea, vomiting can be present. Again, not widely reported, but there have been reports. So if a person has fever, cough, and a bit of that, then yes, it can all fit into this. But again, fever, cough, breathlessness, myalgia, fatigue. These are the key things. And breathlessness comes usually later on in the more, moderate to severe group. Now, while we are at it, I'll just discuss a couple of things which is, well, slightly technical, but again, it's important to know because, again, you all have been reading, I'm sure, that this doesn't behave like a standard pneumonia ARDS. Now, what does that mean? So for the most of the viral illnesses, viral pneumonias that we see, they are in both lungs. They are not like a solid bacterial pneumonia where your lung goes completely, solid or white in that part, but it's more gray, more, extensive inflammation. And the ARDS is also very different. ARDS is acute respiratory distress syndrome, which is a very severe condition wherein most people would end up requiring ventilatory support. Here it has been, the lung has been divided, the COVID involvement of the lung has been divided into two types by some very well-known Italian investigators. So one is a L type and one is a H type. In simple words, light and heavy, but there are more technical terms. And the heavy is what behaves like a standard ARDS, where your lung is stiff and heavy and the ventilators, struggling to push in air, oxygen, etc. through it. The light behaves differently. The light is not that stiff, but you're still very compromised with your oxygen. And the light may evolve to a heavy lung. But it has been seen that in the low oxygen level, which is not really like ARDS, there is a lot of microthrombi, which means your lungs get little clots in it, and therefore the blood flow is not so good. Therefore, the oxygen exchange is not so good. So they have seen a lot of there have been reports of pulmonary embolism, a lot of thrombotic. So your blood is thick, and this is all part of this very severe inflammatory response to the viral infection that affect your lungs so it's a spectrum of disease. It's not a single disease in the lungs, and therefore your strategy to treat, depending on what way the lung is behaving, also has to differ. Therefore, you may have read accounts that ventilator is not the solution and this, that. Well, it depends. It depends on what that particular patient is behaving, in what way he's behaving. But yes, we have to be very watchful. And patients who are hospitalized, first they're on the floors, but you have to monitor closely that the oxygen requirement doesn't increase, and then you have to move them quickly to ICUs and do the needful. So it is something that we have to be very mindful of. I hope that answers your question about the common symptoms.
No, I think these are very, very useful insights, because not enough people understand the symptoms, and I think it's important to understand the fundamental symptoms or signs of a virus, because people start also imagining, become anxious with even other kinds of symptoms which are not relevant. So, for instance, gastric symptoms, which have not been widely reported, but can lead to panic, can lead to other kinds of confusion. ये विनीत ने ही एक और सवाल पूछा है. I think this goes back to a comment that you made about Amazon boxes and deliveries, but not in any way related only to Amazon, but to all deliveries. He's asking, can sunlight kill the virus? And can living products bought from Amazon or other places, or in sunlight for a few hours, kill the virus? And this, of course, is also linked to the earlier theory that was propounded. Like, लोग कहते थे गर्मी आ जाएगी तो वायरस मर जाएगा, और तो अब आप फिक्र ना करें कि जैसे 35-40 डिग्री होगा तो हम वायरस से छुट्टी पा लेंगे. तो can this actually happen? I think it's very important for people to know this, because this is really a myth, and we need to debunk it.
Absolutely. So see, the point is that on a cardboard box, the virus can stay, viable, means capable of causing infection for 1 day. That's what's been found, for 1 day. So if you leave it untouched, the virus will die. Now remember, the virus can't live by itself. By itself, it's just a piece of RNA, right? It has to enter you. It has to enter a living being, so in this case, human beings. It has to enter into our cells. Once it enters into our cells, it gets into action. Then it starts, it takes over your DNA machinery and starts replicating itself. Left on a cardboard box, which is non-living, the virus has no chance till you go touch the surface, and then touch your face, inhale it, and then it can start its cycle. But left alone on the cardboard box, it will die eventually. And that's the same thing with all surfaces. Maybe the other surfaces it stays viable for a bit longer, 3 to 5 days, wood and other things, the doorknobs, door handles, things like that. So it does. But on cardboard, it's 1 day. So regardless of the sun, if you just leave it by itself, it will die, because it just doesn't have any, a living being to get into and start multiplying. So I think it's important that you have ordered, do not touch it. Do not touch it for at least a day, maybe to be on the safe side too, and then only go and open up the box. Sunshine, well, as Chapal also rightly pointed out, it may speed up the process, but it's not necessary. The virus will die anyway, if left to itself and not taken into the system.
One important question that has come up, जो बहुत ज़रूरी है, हमारा next question, ये किशोर प्रकाश पूछ रहे हैं. I noticed that there are a number of homeopathic medicines being sold under the tag that they prevent corona. What is your opinion on this? I want to add a related question to this, कि आजकल होम्योपैथी को तो लेके जो बात कर रहे हैं कोरोना के बारे में, मगर उससे भी बड़ी बात है कि आपको बहुत सारे क्योर्स बताए जा रहे हैं. अश्वगंधा, ये जीप, ये हर्ब खा लीजिए. अब आई एम श्योर दे आर ऑल गुड एंड इम्यूनिटी इंड्यूसिंग, मगर इनमें इन सब में कितनी सच्चाई है कि अगर हम लोगों को बोलें कि गार्लिक खाते जाइए, या ये तेल पी लीजिए, या ये दवा खरीद लीजिए इस आयुर्वेदिक स्टोर से, तो होम्योपैथी आयुर्वेदा ये कहाँ पर स्टैंड करते हैं इस वक्त इस फुल crisis?
Yeah, very important question for us to understand. And so the difference between allopathic medicine and the others, the traditional medicine, is that allopathic medicine only comes into the market after quite rigorous scientific clinical studies, right? So the drug goes through what the vaccine is now going through, phase 0, 1, 2, 3. And then it gets approval, and then phase 4 it is out for circulation. And while it is being tested, you're looking for safety. Is the medicine safe? Is it effective? Is it doing what we want it to do? And only when we are convinced about this in large groups, then only it is introduced in the market. So when I prescribe a medicine, I'm prescribing it with the full confidence that yes, it has been tested, it is safe for my patient. Now, the other branches, unfortunately, don't have this extent of scientific, rigor. So now obviously I can't comment on a lot of it because I don't practice these streams, these medicine lines of medicine. Now, one or two things, however, to point out is that Ayurveda, which is a traditional, very old, allopathic is very new compared to that. That is something that is traditionally in India for thousands of years. And I think we have to also bear that in mind, that Ayurveda, whatever is recommended is usually natural products. It's herbs, it's seeds, it's things that we use in day-to-day life. Yeah, they may say, if somebody says a bit of turmeric will help your immunity, but taking amla will help your immunity, I would say, yeah, absolutely, go for it, because it will boost your immunity. Will it kill the virus? No. The virus doesn't have a tablet to kill it yet. And unless so yes, immune boosting is one thing, killing the virus is another thing. And homeopathic medicines, again, is something, it's difficult because, it has a mix of little things and you really don't know what it is. And I know the doses are very tiny. I know that arsenic has been recommended, for example, and at a very, small dose, but it's very difficult for me to have any sort of conviction in using these. I would say, to kill the virus, we need to wait for the clinical trials that are going on. To boost your immunity, what is recommended in Ayurveda, in our things, by all means use it. But things that are very dubious sounding, like, Gaumutra and all these kind of things which are floating about, I would say, please use your common sense. There is no evidence it works. I mean, what are we grounding it on? And then you get some other illness because of that. So, just be sensible about the approach you take. Homeopathic and all, again, that is a direct question. I would say there is no evidence for it. So none of these will kill your virus. The virus will do its time. Most viral illnesses we know don't have a cure. They come into your body, your immune system gets activated and fight it, then the virus is, then you recover from it. Yes, some HIV has treatment, H1N1 swine flu has treatment. And so these have been developed after so much, research. So to then say that, yes, this, that, and the other can treat coronavirus, I think is a complete sham. And I don't think we should fall for it.
This is really important. ये बहुत ज़रूरी बात है. आप ये याद रखिए कि Ayurveda is good, and I think, like Dr. Datta was saying, a lot of the things that are recommended are natural, they are helpful, but there is no cure for the virus right now. No scientific cure. So to go around believing in any system of medicine, and allopathy is openly admitting that it doesn't have a cure, is very important. That you want to boost your immunity, do it sensibly with sensible suggestion, and look at it, make your choices based on some intelligent analysis. आप सोच के करें जो भी ले रहे हैं. ऐसे ही कोई आपको बोलता है कि इसका क्योर है, इसका क्योर नहीं है, हमारे पास आयुर्वेदा में इसका क्योर है, किसी भी प्रणाली में इसका क्योर है, तो थोड़ा सोच के उसको फॉलो करें. लास्ट क्वेश्चन जो मैं आपसे लेना चाहूँगा वो ये है कि a lot of people believe that this is only a largely urban phenomenon, that the coronavirus is a fear that exists in urban areas alone, and linked to this is the fact that we are seeing the highest case surge in densely populated big cities where we are testing extensively. तो कुछ लोगों को ये लगता है कि ये ज़्यादातर शहरों में और खासकर बड़े शहरों में इसको देखा जा रहा है और इसलिए वहीं पर है. तो जो छोटे शहर हैं या छोटे प्रांत हैं उसमें ज़िंदगी ऐसी ही चलती रहनी चाहिए जैसी है. और उससे जुड़ा हुआ ये सवाल भी है कि लोग ये मानते हैं कि छोटे शहरों में जैसे लॉकडाउन या हम फिजिकल डिस्टेंसिंग की बात करते हैं, इसकी इतनी ज़रूरत नहीं. तो क्या ये सच है?
So, yes, important question for us. See, the virus started as what is called a white collar disease. Yani, जो लोग यूरोप में, अमेरिका में थे, they brought it back to India with them. या जो वुहान में थे कुछ लोग, so that kind of a thing. ठीक है, it came to India from outside, but that's what happens. जब स्पैनिश फ्लू भी आया था तब सेलर्स लेके आए थे शिप्स में, और अभी now we have aeroplanes, so aeroplanes में it came to India. So because these people brought it from abroad and these people possibly stay in cities, so cities में शुरुआत हुआ. And yes, absolutely right, cities एकदम congested है तो वहां तो फैलना ही है, so there is no option. जहां भी, as we discussed in the early part, जहां भी लोग इकट्ठा होंगे, भीड़ होंगे, वहां वायरस फैलेगा without a doubt. But again, equally I told you about the सब्जी मंडी तो शहरों में नहीं होता है, that happens in remote, slightly out of the city areas, city zones में होता है, and वहां भी people are at equal risk. So in the smaller cities, all you need is one person. हाँ, शुरू में अब it's Delhi, Bombay, Ahmedabad, the big cities are taking the brunt of it. But remember that India में other than जिनको already हो चुका है COVID, किसी को immunity नहीं है. So every single one of us is susceptible. मतलब हम हर एक को होगा, कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है. वायरस जब एक पॉपुलेशन में घुसता है, वो सब पूरा पॉपुलेशन को इन्फेक्ट करके उसके बाद ही जाके स्टॉप होता है ट्रांसमिशन, एज वी सॉ इन वुहान, राइट? सो वुहान में दे सील्ड इट ऑफ कंप्लीटली. वुहान में 82,000 और समथिंग लाइक दैट गॉट इन्फेक्टेड. व्हेन डिड द वायरस स्टॉप ट्रांसमिटिंग? जब कोई बचा ही नहीं, who is susceptible. Susceptible means जिस population को कभी ये viral infection हुआ नहीं है. And right now, when the COVID started, the whole globe, it had the whole globe's population, पूरा दुनिया का population था जो susceptible है. So it started its work country by country. And as you have seen, this is the trajectory. हर एक country को इसी trajectory पे जाना है. कोई सोल्यूशन नहीं है इसका. ऑल वी कैन डू इज लॉकडाउन से इसको थोड़ा स्लो डाउन कर सकते हैं, नथिंग एल्स. आप देखोगे, ग्राफ देखोगे, लॉकडाउन नहीं होता तो ऐसे पीक होता, लॉकडाउन होने की वजह से ऐसे हो गया है. द एरिया अंडर द ग्राफ, द एरिया अंडर दैट कर्व इज द सेम, राइट? सो ऑल वी हैव डन इज वी स्लोड इट डाउन. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि बस शहरों में होके मर जाएगा, नहीं, इट वोंट हैपन, बिकॉज एक बार लॉकडाउन खुल गया, कितना आजकल ह्यूमन मूवमेंट है. हम लोग एक जगह से दूसरी जगह, शहर, सिटीज, विलेजेस, टाउन्स, सब घूमते रहते हैं. So all you need is one person to enter one village, and that's it. So I believe that in मतलब जो remote areas में, villages में बताया गया है मुझे कि लोग night vigil रखते हैं. यानी एक उनका roster होता है कि आज ये family जो entrance है village का, वहां पे चौकीदारी करेंगे कि कोई नया कोई घुसे ना, which is excellent, and that may be a very good way to prevent this kind of, because villages in pandemics can get wiped out. One person comes with an infection and the village is totally not susceptible, but so that kind of thing has happened in the past. That's why we know that it will happen. So there is no chance that the cities will get hit and that's it, finished, because right now we are heading towards the lockdown ending, right? Already there has been relaxation, and this will continue to happen because the economic crisis is deepening too much otherwise. So it is inevitable that lockdown dheere dheere hatega, travel will increase, and the virus will spread more. We don't have a choice in this. Only thing we can do is that we take the precautions. We hope that, yes, most of us will get a low-grade infection and get better and get immune as well. But other than that, there is no. So I think all of us, so don't have any misconceptions कि हम गांव में हैं, यहाँ नहीं आएगा, या हम छोटे शहर में हैं, यहाँ नहीं आएगा. Ultimately, the virus will go everywhere. ठीक है, and then unless, I mean, we were hoping कि हाँ गर्मी आ जाएगी तो हम बच जाएंगे, या हमारा BCG vaccination है वो किसी तरह हमें बचाव देगा. But unfortunately that is not the case. Already we were, yesterday का count था 62,000 and it's only going up. So I think it is inevitable. So सबको तैयार रहना चाहिए कि होगा, without panicking.
So I think this is a really good note to actually close on, कि do not panic. There is the possibility that the virus will come to where you live. You must know the symptoms. आप symptoms को समझिए, आप उसको कैसे handle करना है उसको समझिए. किसी unverified या unsubstantiated theory या दवाई लेके अपने आप को किसी risk में मत डालिए. जो precautions आज हमने discuss किए हैं वो ध्यान में रखिए, और खासकर जो myths, जो misinformation है इस वायरस के आसपास, उसको प्लीज ध्यान में रखिए कि उनको आप बेकार में बिलीव करके ना तो अपने आप को रिस्क में डालें, ना किसी और को रिस्क में डालें, बिकॉज ये बहुत ज़रूरी है। इसके अंदर जो शायद मेडिसिन में एक बहुत सबसे पुरानी कहावत है, प्रिवेंशन इज बेटर देन क्योर, इज रियली बीइंग इलस्ट्रेटेड in front of us in the most alive way possible, in the most graphic way possible, कि बस बचाव ही इसका इलाज है। तो ये बहुत ज़रूरी है कि आप इस बात को समझें और इसको अमल में लाएं, बिकॉज अब जब लॉकडाउन खुल रहा है तो ये मिथ्स और ये फैक्ट्स के साथ आपको डील करके अपने आप को और अपने परिवार को और अपने समुदाय को तैयार करना है इससे लड़ने के लिए। So let me end by thanking Bornali. Bornali, thank you so much. I know you're extremely busy. आप बहुत busy हैं, तो आपने ये वक्त निकाला और बहुत अच्छे से हम सबको समझाया कि इसमें क्या चीज़ सही है और क्या नहीं है। इससे हमें और हमारे दर्शकों को बहुत बहुत फ़ायदा होगा। Thank you so much. And let me also end by saying that Scroll has been doing incredible work on COVID-19. I have been writing on it. Several other experts have been writing on it. You must check out the English articles in Scroll, but you should also check out the Hindi coverage of COVID-19 on Satyagraha, if I'm not wrong. ये दोनों रिलायबल हैं और इनकी इंफॉर्मेशन ज़रूर पढ़िए ताकि आप अपने आप को ठीक से समझ सकें। और आपके अगर और सवाल हैं तो हमें ज़रूर भेजिएगा, हम जिस तरह भी हो सके उनका समाधान करने की कोशिश करेंगे। आखिर में मैं एक संस्था से जुड़ा हुआ हूँ, सर्वाइवर्स अगेंस्ट टीबी, यहाँ पर टीबी पेशेंट्स की हम मदद करते हैं। तो अगर आप एक टीबी पेशेंट हैं जिनको किसी तरह की ज़रूरत है इस COVID-19 क्राइसिस में, तो आप हमें लिखिए, फेसबुक, ट्विटर, जहाँ पर भी आप हमें ढूंढ सकते हैं हमें लिखिए। हमने व्हाट्सएप नंबर भी डाला हुआ है अपने वेबसाइट पे, ताकि आपको आसानी, फेसबुक पे, ताकि आपको आसानी से मदद मिल सके। So thank you so much all for joining. Thank you Bornali for being with us today for a very long time. हम 20 मिनट ऊपर चले गए अपने टाइम से, मगर सवाल थे तो इसलिए हमें पूछना ज़रूरी था. We had to ask you. Thank you, and thank you Scroll for hosting this conversation. Thank you.